Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the PAC Chat. I'm Felicia Malelli, Board Chair for NJPHIPAC. Tonight, I'm joined by Board Treasurer, Lori Don Diego. The PAC Chat was created to give you, our community, the opportunity to meet influential people in our state who share in our commitment to health freedom. As part of the PAC's endorsement process, we've invited special guests, Senator Select Vince Polistina, Assembly candidate and former Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, and Assembly candidate Claire Swift, all of Legislative District 2. Legislative District 2 includes municipalities in Atlantic City, ranging from the rural areas of Elmwood all the way to Atlantic County, I'm sorry. If you are tuning in with us for the first time, welcome. And if you are returning back, welcome back. We are going to bring on our guests in a few moments, but for our new viewers, I wanted to give a little bit of a background about NJPHIPAC and our endorsement process. NJPHIPAC is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, grassroots political action committee, and we organize. Our organization is made up of passionate, committed, and advocates who have come together to be a bridge from our community to our legislatures here in New Jersey, and to help influence the political landscape regarding issues that matter to us. Since our launch, we have been very busy gaining this seat for our community at the New Jersey political table. So being that the current event issues around health freedom, bodily autonomy, and parental rights are so prevalent, this is imperative to have this type of relationship with our state legislature. So how does a PAC work? Simply put, the PAC collects funds, contributions from individuals such as yourselves, and those funds are then pooled and implemented strategically to influence key campaigns in the state. As we have discussed in previous PAC chats, a PAC's primary goal is to seek candidates who align with our mission so that they are able to advocate on our behalf and be a voice for us, our community in Trenton. The PAC's mission, as stated on our website, in full transparency, is to protect and strengthen the constitutionally guaranteed and fundamental rights of all New Jersey residents to make medical decisions for themselves and their families without coercion or undue constraint. Because we believe that all decision-making when it comes to health and medical choices should be left to the family and the individual. So the NJPHIPAC has taken a bird's eye view of the state, as if it was a chessboard, to help determine which districts we need to get behind in order to stack the Senate and the Assembly and the complete legislature in New Jersey in favor, so that when a bill comes up that would potentially put mandates or remove the religious exemption, we have voices in Trenton. So the part of our endorsement process is that we created a bunch of different set of standards, and part of the endorsement process is our survey, is this interview, and an interview that we have with candidates and incumbents as a PAC board, personal interview with them that could sometimes go for over an hour, because it's really important that we create that relationship with them. We look at their voting history and their positions on matters that and issues that matter to us. So when NJPHIPAC endorses a candidate, that endorsement is done with integrity, and it's important that when it's beneficial to you as our community, that when you see that endorsement seal, you can rest assured that they have been vetted and that they are going to be that voice in Trenton. Our endorsements, our full list of endorsements, can be found on our website. Since the election is just days away, then these endorsements are going to really be rolling out. So I encourage you to keep looking back for resources. And if you go to our website, it's at www.njphipac.org/endorsements. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it along to Lori, and she's going to give you a little bit of a high analysis of this very important district that's here with us tonight.
Hi, everyone. So before we move on to introducing our evening's guest candidates, I just wanted to review some really important specifics regarding this district. So District 2 is a district that's currently split across parties, where the senator's Republican and the two seated assembly people are Democrats. It's one of the only two districts that was like this, and Senator Chris Brown, who's a Republican, left his position in the Senate for a different role, and he was a solid no vote on our religious exemption bill, the repeal bill. Assemblyman Vince Mazzeo, a Democrat, is the current assemblyman in District 2. He's stepping up to run for the Senate seat in the district. The advantage Mazzeo had is that he's a well-known name in the district, and the people in his district have already elected him into his current assembly seat. Mazzeo is a definite yes vote on removing the religious exemption. Vince Polistina is the Republican challenger in District 2. He's running for the Senate seat. He's the GOP select candidate to replace Chris Brown in the Senate seat from now until the election in November. Senate President Sweeney refused to bring the legislature back to the session to swear Polistina in as the interim Senate replacement for Chris Brown. Clearly, it's an intentional tactic to weaken the chances of Polistina getting the votes needed in November, but we're confident that it's not going to work. Based on his survey submission and our conversations with him, he's clearly the best candidate for us in this district to preserve religious freedoms here in New Jersey, and yet another victim of, political moves done by the Senate president. In summary, with Polistina versus Mazzeo in November, we have high potential to lose a no vote seat in this district, but we're confident with your help, we're not going to lose a thing. So now I'll pass it to Felicia to bring them on. You're muted.
Thank you, Lori. So without further ado, let's bring on NJPHIPAC's newest endorsement, the District 2 team. Welcome, Senator Vince Polistina, Assembly candidates Don Guardian and Claire Swift. Whoop. Excellent.
Good evening.
Good evening. One sec. All right, there we go. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It was great.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. It's our pleasure. It's been our pleasure getting to know you all. And we're really excited to be able to introduce to you to the NJPHIPAC community to show them how fantastic of a team you are. So as you know, our ever-growing community of concerned New Jersey residents deeply cares about current events issues surrounding health freedom, informed consent, bodily autonomy, and parental rights. There's been, many mandates across the state and much rumblings of mandates to come. So there's a lot of concern around this issue, and just the total trajectory of health freedom in the state is frightening for many. So from completing our survey and meeting all of you on multiple occasions, we are grateful to know that we have representatives such as yourselves who are ready, willing, and able to serve your constituents and the state of New Jersey. So with your vowed commitment to protect and strengthen personal choice in relation to health and medical freedom, there was no hesitation in granting our endorsement to your candidacies for the 2021 New Jersey state elections. So congratulations to you all.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Thank you.
that.
So let's open the floor for you all so we can share again with our community who you really are and tell them a little bit about yourselves, your districts, your life, your professional, anything outside of politics you'd like to share. And also maybe include why you got into politics and how it begun for you. What was your purpose to getting into politics? So Senator Vince Polistina, we'll start with you.
Well, thanks, Alicia, and thank you for having us. It's great for us to be here. I have been in Atlantic County my entire life, now 50 years old. I went to Rutgers University, got a degree in engineering, came back to the area, started my own little small engineering business in Egg Harbor Township, which I've been running since 2004. have my wife Carolyn, 3 children who are now 16, and I have 15-year-old twins. So of course these issues are very, very important to me at this point in my life as I raise my children, and deal with these very issues as it relates to them. So I've been here my entire life. Really enjoyed raising my family here. Really enjoy this area. Very concerned, the direction the state of New Jersey is going with some of these issues. I think that this country is built upon personal responsibility, hard work and opportunity, being able to have a good job with good pay, put food on the table, make these decisions like this with your family, with your doctor. And I think that unfortunately, New Jersey is getting away from that in some cases, and I don't think that is a good thing. I think we need to strengthen the parental role and parental notification. And I think, as you see some of these things related to stripping away parental notification, parental involvement, there is no way New Jersey can get better unless we revert back to the way that this country was built upon, with a strong family unit, with making decisions collectively between family units and healthcare providers. And so I think that we wholeheartedly agree with everything that you guys are standing for. I think it is very important for people to exercise their own personal responsibility, their own individual freedoms, get as educated as possible, get all the information you possibly can. And ultimately, it's up to people to make the best decision they can in consultation with their family and their healthcare provider. And so kind of a little background and framework with what we operate under. Again, really happy to be here and looking forward to talking to you over the next hour.
Great. Thank you. That's refreshing for many people to hear, I'm sure. Don, let's go to you.
Thank you. So I'm Jersey born and raised. I grew up in West New York in Hudson County until I was 11. Then we moved to Palisade Park in Bergen County, went to Don Bosco Prep up in Ramsey, came back to Uppsala College in East Orange to finish my undergraduate. I worked in Ocean County for 5 years, Morris and Sussex County for 10 years, and I've been down in Atlantic County since 1989. So the last part of my life has been down here. Before this, I was the business administrator in a very large community, Toms River, New Jersey. Before that, I was mayor of a very urban area, Atlantic City. And before that, I had spent 20 years with the Special Improvement District in Atlantic City. So I thought I was well prepared with a wonderful experience of how to work with government. During my time in Atlantic City, I inherited a city that had a $100 million deficit annually and a $600 million long-term debt after some 30 years or 40 years actually of Democratic leadership. And so I was able to turn that around, trim the budget by $40 million annually, find out where funding was available in the rest of the state, meet a lot of the assemblymen and senators to get their support in getting some additional funding down here. And like Vince, I'm just kind of disgusted that a lot of the rights that we have under the Constitution, including our rights to religious freedom, is all being taken away. We have a governor now that seems to far exceed the most powerful governor in the state, in the country, by imposing issues to individuals that he doesn't have a right to impose. And so that's one of the reasons that I'm running. And I really don't believe Atlantic County has good representation in Trenton, nor do we get a fair share of what Atlantic County sends there.
I couldn't agree more, and I couldn't agree with more of a perfect ticket to be that voice for us in Trenton. Claire, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thanks, Felicia. Thanks for having us today. We enjoyed meeting you on Zoom before and in person down in Atlantic City. By way of background, I'm born and raised in Atlantic County. I graduated from Atlantic City High School, the University of Pennsylvania. I went to law school in Delaware, and I came back. I actually lived at home while I was in law school. I worked at the Atlantic City Courthouse. I interned there. I was also a law clerk. After my clerkship, I was sworn in as a deputy attorney general with the state of New Jersey. I was assigned to represent DYFS, which is now known as DCP&P. It's an agency that protects abused and neglected children. I worked literally out of the DYFS office in Atlantic City, which was 4 blocks from the courthouse, and went to court every single day and fought side by side with law enforcement and social workers to protect abused and neglected children. I was very passionate about it. As you can imagine, representing the agency and seeing what happens to children, who are, subjected to, all different types of abuse. It was a tough job, but I enjoyed it. And after I was with the Attorney General's office, I went into private practice with my siblings. There's 4 of us that are lawyers, and we all work together out of our office in Northfield. I continue to do family law. I am a court-appointed guardian for people that can't advocate for themselves, whether it be, children with special needs or elderly people that just can't, speak for themselves. So I've continued to be an advocate for the families of Atlantic County. The reason why I decided to run is because during this COVID pandemic, I saw what happens when you don't have good, strong leaders in charge. I mean, I remember with the whole lockdown, I've got 3 kids. They're in school. They're going to be 11, 9, and 9. I also have twins as well, like Vince. When the schools locked down, it just everything just stopped. And I just couldn't believe what was happening. And there was no strong voice here in Atlantic County. Our local assemblymen, they closed their doors. They turned off their phones. There was no guidance. And people were really scared. I didn't miss a day of work. I went to work every day, and my kids were home during that time. And I felt like I had more constituent services coming out of my law office than our local assemblymen. People were calling me. They thought that they were going to die the next day. They wanted their wills done. And I was constantly trying to say, look, we're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. As I said, I'm a mom. My friends are moms. I would be getting calls every day, how they were suffering because their kids were home. I had one friend who said they were spending more money on therapy for their child because their child was a world-class athlete, and all of a sudden they stopped. Fortunately, my kids were able to go to school last year, the whole year. They didn't miss a day. And the last 2 months, they didn't have to wear the masks. And it was great. And we thought we were coming out of the woods. We were coming out of, the pandemic. So over the summer, the governor decides, well, we're going to do a mask mandate. I've got kids. They're like, Mom, why are we wearing masks? We didn't have to wear masks all summer. We didn't have to wear masks last year. And it's hard to explain to kids that, basically your government is just telling you what to do and telling you how to raise your kids. And like Vince said, each school, parents and medical professionals and the schools can decide what is right for them. What might work in a school in South Jersey may not work for a school up in North Jersey. What might work for one child may not work for another child. And I just think that what we need to do is we have to get back to the basics where, parents can decide what is in the best interest of their children. And we see what is happening with the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates. People are fed up. They want to be able to raise their children. They want medical freedom. Parents know what's best for their kids. And, that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I know what's best for my children, and I don't need anybody telling me how to raise my child. So I look forward to talking to you more about this. And I'm so happy that you have us here and talking about these issues.
Thank you so much, Claire. From mother to mother, I and so many mothers out there and parents out there, it's an issue. This whole administration has been about stripping away parental rights. I've seen a lot of signs at some rallies. We don't co-parent with the government. We want to make those decisions for ourselves, with our kids, with our doctors who know our children as, well, obviously parents know them well, but.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
So again, so happy to have such a great ticket, and looking forward to speaking with you more. But I'm going to pass it along to Lori, who's going to get into some deep dive questions concerning current events.
So obviously the pandemic has been a springboard to launch into focus threats specifically with the preservation of the religious exemption and choice when it comes to masking and vaccines. So I wanted to start with Senator Polistina. Your feelings on these issues are particularly important to us, being that Senator Brown was a no vote, and now you'll be in his place during the lame duck session, should the religious exemption bill come to the Senate. Now, lame duck, for people that don't know, is mid-November to mid-January. It's the period between when people know whether or not they're reelected for the next term or not, but the previous senator or legislator is still in that seat. So can you confirm your vote for this bill, or how you would vote on a bill like this that would aim to restrict our health freedoms, and why? Oh, you're muted.
Yep, sorry. Thank you. It's a pretty easy one. I am a solid no on removing the religious exemption. So you won't have any concern, at least during lame duck while I'm there, because there's no way that I would vote to remove the religious exemption. Just like I said, parents, children, families, healthcare providers need to make these decisions collectively. No government should be coming in and trying to tell us what must be done with our children. So I will be a solid no while I'm there. And, in terms of all the mandates, I just think that when kids are going into school and you're in common areas, we could have them wear the mask. I don't think that's a big deal. But I think this whole thing where you make a mask all day long, sitting at a desk when they're separated, is just unbelievable. It's horrible for children. It's horrible for their education. It is horrible for their socialization. And I don't think there's any reason for it. I don't think there's certainly no science that says you should be sitting in a mask all day long. The 2-year-old mask thing is political theater, nothing more than that, because we all know that it can't happen. It's never going to happen. And so I think a lot of this has just been about political theater. Unfortunately, in an election season, he has done well with doing his, bi-weekly briefings and getting out there. And that's what a lot of this, unfortunately, has been about. But I think that we hopefully, we win this election down here. We win more elections around this state. I think we're really going to start to open people's eyes up to say, we've had enough of this top-down approach, with the governor trying to act like the King of England, telling everybody what to do, when to do it, how to do it. People, like Claire said, people are fed up with it. They just had enough of it, and they know that there's no real rational reason behind a lot of it in many cases. And so I hope that's going to result in people going out this year, because we certainly need as many people to get out and vote as we possibly can.
Thank you so much. We look forward to working with you in your next term.
Thanks.
So, Don, you spent several years as the mayor of Atlantic City. This city, although a melting pot of tourists, has a high demographic of minorities. It's clear that the minority population in New Jersey are among some of the highest population of vaccine-hesitant residents. Currently, we're already seeing private sector segregation of vaccinated versus unvaccinated patrons. This, coupled with Phil Murphy and the NJEA's monitoring of the vaccinated versus unvaccinated in the school system, and much more like this, tell us the fate of New Jersey is looking like we could be heading backwards instead of forwards with unity and acceptance of choice. From your experience, should New Jersey cities like Atlantic City allow such a thing to happen, such as it already is happening in New York City? And what kind of impact would this have on New Jersey, businesses and residents, and specifically minority communities as well?
So absolutely not. Neither Atlantic City nor any other of the 17 communities that we're trying to represent should have any type of restrictions or any type of programs that would take away religious freedoms. People have come to the United States, either it's our generation, our parents or grandparents, or I can tell you today the individuals that are coming here from Bangladesh and from Pakistan, from India, from all over South America, all come here with one of the concepts being religious freedom. And so I think it's very, very critical to anyone in New Jersey, especially our minority populations, to never give up that right to be able to enjoy the religion that they want. I do, understand that with some 16 languages spoken in Atlantic City, we have to be a little bit more open in how we discuss what's available to everyone. I certainly am the first one to want to make sure that anyone that wants to be vaccinated can be vaccinated, with the exception of children. That's a parent's decision. A mother decides to have a child, hopefully with her spouse, and they determine that they're going to provide the best answers, the best upbringings for those individuals that are their children and stuff. And we don't have the right to take it away. The governor has seemed over everything he's done so far to try to continue to take away parental rights, whether that be forcing kids to have sex education in kindergarten, or whether it's taking away the rights of Atlantic City to elect our own political leaders, or the changes now that he has with demanding that schools either have vaccinations or have masking, when we know there's 21 counties in the state. What works in a Patterson or a West New York or a Booton may not be appropriate for the communities here. It's up to the individual families. They all have boards of education. They should be making decisions. And the individual for adults is just that. It's their God-given right, and it's guaranteed by the Constitution. We have an obligation to make sure that we uphold the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey.
Thank you, Don. We really appreciate that. Claire. So the health freedom movement in New Jersey is growing exponentially, in large part to the treatment of New Jersey school-age children. Parents are just up in arms around the hypocrisy that children are continuing to be masked when New Jersey businesses are unmasked. Additionally, the NJEA has set into place a road forward plan that has teachers keeping track of their students as well as their students' parents' vaccine conversations. And to top all that, Governor Phil Murphy has stated that a COVID mandate for children is not off the table. What are your thoughts on policies like this?
I think it's unbelievable. I mean, keeping track of students and parents who are vaccinated and unvaccinated, it causes enough more division than we already have. I mean, look, if you want to go to school, a teacher, and wear a hazmat suit and a mask, you have that right to do that. The mask mandate, when I tell you, I have text messages from Republican moms, Democrat moms, independents. They are up in arms about the masks. And I'll tell you, last Friday, my son, he went to school. He had a little tiny bit of a cough, little one. And he's like, Mom, wearing this mask. He goes, I don't want to wear it. I go, you have to put the mask on. So finally I said, you know what? He did not want to miss school. So he went in, he did his test. I picked him up. I said, you know what? Let me just take him to the doctors. Took him to the doctor. No strep throat. He did the quick COVID test. It was negative. But for those couple of hours, the stress and anxiety it caused me and my son, we can't have more of this with the parents of New Jersey. It's enough. And there's enough division right now that you can't make people get vaccinated. I mean, it's tough enough for me to get my kids to have the flu shot. If I have to add another vaccine on there, it's just going to cause a lot of trouble. So as a mom, realistically, what it's going to cause to kids and parents and, adding more stress to their lives, it does not make any sense, and it's not fair. And as I said before, if teachers want to come to school in a hazmat suit, they want to wear a mask. If students want to wear a mask and their parents want them to wear a mask, that's fine. You just can't blanket mandate masks and vaccines with children.
Mhm. And there you have it, folks. The reason why this great ticket has our endorsement. Their views are completely aligned with ours. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, guys. I was going to just move on to, we think it's really important for our community to know who you are. And, obviously this issue, you've been able to present to it and you care about this issue, and we appreciate that greatly. But what are the issues that get you out of bed each day? What are the issues that you're going to champion behind when you're in office in 2022? Senator Select Vince, would you like to start? And we haven't elaborated on what the Senator Select means, so if you'd like to share for our community a little bit about that as well.
Sure.
But the initial question would be, what issues, again, get you out of bed and ready to conquer in your district in 2022?
So yeah, thanks. I served in the assembly, as you know, Felicia, for 4 years, back from 2008 to 2011. So I served 2 years with John Corzine, 2 years with Chris Christie. So had some experience in Trenton. Kind of got into it a little bit by accident at that point, just because we had split down here in politics, and I had a friend who was running, who kind of recruited me into running for the assembly. So I ended up into it a little bit by accident. But learned a lot, got educated, enjoyed it. Just my kids were younger then, so I didn't have the time really to dedicate it to it between my business and my kids at that point. I wanted to, have an opportunity to be with them and coach them. And so I took the last 10 years and I've been coaching T-ball and coaching baseball and coaching basketball and really being a part of helping to bring them up. So this opportunity came up with Senator Brown. And I look at the time frame I'm at in my life now, with my kids being 16 and my twins are 15. And I say to myself, this state is so backwards, and this state is taking away opportunities from people at such an alarming rate that if we don't do something to turn this around, my children, who are all now in high school, are ultimately going to finish high school, hopefully go to college or get into a vocation, whatever they decide to do. But if we don't get to a point in this state where we start creating opportunities for kids like mine, you're going to continue to see more and more children leave this state, because there are going to be more opportunities in other states. And so that is primarily why I would say I'm back into it now. I just look at the situation in this state, whether you are a child hoping to get a career going here, start a family here, whether you're a family trying to work your job, put food on the table for your family, hopefully save a little money for your future, whether you're a retiree here who has family here and would like to be able to retire here. This state has become so incredibly unaffordable that we are driving people out of it every day. And so we see it in Atlanta County here, where we've had no growth, no population growth over the last decade. There has been no growth whatsoever, because we have so many people leaving because of the incredible unaffordability of this state. When you think about the way we've spent money, borrowed money, increased taxes, increased spending, it is just unbelievable, to the point where people really are making decisions about whether they want to be in New Jersey just because it costs so much to be here. And so that's primarily why I ended up back in running. Of course, Senator Brown made the decision to step down. I had the experience. I figured, let me think about it, talk to my wife, and ultimately made the decision that this would be the right timing to do it. Because they're all in high school now. I had more time and to dedicate to it. And so that's why I'm back in it now. And it's really centered upon the fact that if we don't get this state turned around from an affordability standpoint, I am really concerned about more and more and more people leaving this state, and this state being left with no one who really just wants to work hard to put food on the table. And so in terms of the Senator Select, the whole process kind of played out. We we do, you mentioned it a couple of times, we have a fabulous team with Don and Claire. We have a team, from different backgrounds, different walks of life, but we are an excellent team in terms of representing the people of this district. It's a very diverse district, geographically, with its population. We have the best ticket we possibly could put together. Just people with different backgrounds, different walks of life, different experiences that are going to complement each other very well. And so, as the whole thing played out and we ultimately got the convention nod from the Atlantic County Republican Committee, Senator Brown, then made the decision to step down from his post to take another opportunity. And so I was selected by the Atlantic County Republican Committee to fulfill the remainder of his term, which, as you mentioned, goes till the end of this legislative session. So I've actually already been sworn in. I am the senator, but of course, the Senate president won't recognize it, unfortunately, which doesn't bother me necessarily because I am the senator. I'm still giving out my cell phone, trying to help people with, unemployment and motor vehicles and senior freeze and all the things you can imagine people need help with right now. But it does bother me from the standpoint that they have physically locked that district office. I can't answer the phones. People who have been calling that number since I was in the assembly since in 2008 are now getting a message that says Senator Brown's no longer in office. Go to www.njleg and find another legislator, which is just, when you really take a step back and you think about that's how they regard constituents and people who need help in this state. That's what we're faced with this opposite party. And it is very unfortunate, very sad. But I am, at worst case, I am the senator select. At worst case, we'll go up a couple days after the election and serve during the lame duck. Hopefully long after that, we'll see. But that is the regard that these Democrats have for people in this state. It's just very, very unfortunate for people.
Well, we're so blessed to have you. And, I just wanted you to bring that up because our community, it's already an open wound. The Senate majority leader there who's declared war on many on New Jersey parents relating to this issue that matters so much to us and the removal of the religious exemption and health freedom. So the fact that it's not great, that you weren't able to be there for your constituents. I know you've gone up and above that and are still managing to have those discussions and be present for them as much as possible. But, it just shows who you are and again, solidifies why we're supportive of you. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
And Claire, would you like to share what was the, what gets you out of bed each day and what is going to be your first priority in the new year?
Well, what gets me out of bed every day are Jack, Tony, and Claire, my kids, because they get me up early. I want to make sure that New Jersey is just affordable, affordable for businesses, families. I want my kids to live here and work here like I am. This county is thirsty for a change. We have been going door to door to houses in every municipality in our district. And, people open the door and they just want to change and they're passionate about it. This is a very smart county. They will do the research and they will find out if, who the candidates are and what their background is. And I think that this county is ready for Vince Polistina, Don Gardy, and myself. I mean, who wouldn't want to send an engineer, a former prosecutor, and the former mayor of Atlantic City to Trenton to fight for Atlantic County? Atlantic City is our bloodline. Like I said, I graduated from Atlantic City High School. I'm up on that boardwalk. And, the city needs a change. I went to a funeral the other day in Atlantic City and I drove down the street. There was a drug deal. There was a prostitute and a homeless person on the street. We can't have that down here. It is our bloodline. We need to take care of our boardwalk and the casinos. It is a diverse county. We've got, Mullica, Brigantine, Summers Point, Egg Harbor Township, the Barrier Islands, and everybody just wants to be able to live here and work here. People complain, obviously, about their property taxes, affordability. I'm a small business owner. I know how difficult it is to run a business and make payroll. You're getting hit with taxes left and right, income tax, payroll tax. Our governor just passed a $250 million payroll tax increase to employers who have been employing people for the last year and a half. Nothing makes sense. We have to turn this around. People refer to this whole COVID pandemic as the twilight zone because the government has just run rampant with everything, whether it be, the mask mandates, the vaccine. They want to take over our lives, and we can't let that happen. This is a very critical race. We've got 2 more weeks to get this done. We have a lot of momentum, but we have to make sure that this happens. And, we have to make sure everybody gets out to vote throughout the whole state, because if you want to change, you have to make it. And now is the time to do it. Thank you for having us on the show.
Sorry, I'm muted. You bring up a lot of really important issues. The money that's being spent, even millions of going to the school systems and the districts in order to be compliant for the Road Forward plan that we spoke about. If they're not compliant, they don't get those funds. Where's this money coming from? We have the highest taxes in the country. I mean, and all the entire state. Like you said, it's going to bleed because people are going to leave if their taxes aren't reduced. They can't afford to live here. And
Absolutely.
So we got to follow that money. Where is it going? It's going to, like I said, supporting the governor's mission to set mandates, and that whole, for the last 4 years, not 4 years, since the pandemic, our system of government's been shut down with these executive orders. I call it monocracy. It's just one governor. I mean, one ruler.
And one person that interviewed us had said, how many executive orders should the governor be allowed to make before the legislature has to come in? I mean, he's passed 21 executive orders. Don't you think after 5, the legislature should be called in to decide if we need more? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely needs to be some policy created around that when we are able to have our voice again.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And Don, how about yourself? What are some of your goals for 2022? Oh, he just might have. Oh, his.
He hit stop cam instead of unmute.
Oh, okay. I don't.
There you go.
Don, you still there?
All I know is that when he wins, he'll be the best dressed assemblyman.
Yep.
But then again, you're talking to someone whose kids always wear bow ties, so I love it.
Do they?
Yeah. Well, holidays, not every day.
He's known as the skateboarding mayor down here.
I love that. We should provide a visual.
Yeah. Don, you there?
Can you unmute him, Felicia, yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to unmute. Oh. All right, all right, well, while we're waiting for him, Vince, can you, for the last word, we'd like to give you the last word on what health freedom means to you.
So, yeah, thanks. I mean, I think we've talked about it. I mean, this is really not just health freedom. It's kind of all freedom. This country is built on us having our freedoms and our ability to make our own decisions. And so that's ultimately what freedom is the ability to get yourself as educated as possible, collect all the information you can, and ultimately have your free will and make the best decision that you can for you and your family. And so as it relates to, health freedom, all freedom, that's what it means to me. I think that's what it's about. And that's what this country was about. So I'm hoping that this election really turns some heads and opens some eyes we really start to get back to the basics this country was built upon, and everybody, return back to the freedom we have always enjoyed. We have to have it. Without that, you just have this monarchy, like you said, and you just have these rulers coming in and telling you what to do. And, that's not going to be good for anybody. This whole notion that, we're going to become a, socialist society, and we're going to have all these things where the government is controlling this and controlling that, ultimately has failed everywhere. It would fail here. I think finally people are, recognizing that, realizing that, and hopefully this election starts to bring the pendulum back the other way, because we certainly know it has gone to the Democratic side for way, way too long at this point. We got to hopefully have the pendulum swing back to people who believe in limited government, personal responsibility, hard work, opportunity, everything that we all agree on, and everything that we, loved about this country as we were all growing up. And so we got to hopefully get it turned around, get our kids back to enjoying the same things that we were able to enjoy as we grew up here.
Absolutely. And it's important for us to express to our community that this decision, and get out there, speak to your family, speak to your friends, send the message that the decision and the fate of New Jersey is going to be determined by November 2nd. And it's important to get them out to vote and let their voice be heard, because their vote is a vote for the trajectory of health freedom in New Jersey. And it is imperative to understand that the fate in so many issues is being determined by this vote. It's a complete split, a complete divide, and in order to protect choice, and in many issues, as well as health freedom, of course, which is important to us, it's imperative to get people out to vote. And maybe you can talk to the point of the how the polls are open this year. It's going to be different than previous years.
Yeah. So, but like you said, the bottom line is we got to get everybody out to vote. So, and that's another, great team that we have, because again, we have different backgrounds, different perspectives. And so the three of us are going to be able to bring hopefully different people out to vote, which of course is the bottom line. We, Claire said, we got the momentum, everything has been trending in our direction, but at the end of the day, depending on how the vote turnout goes, could tilt this election one way or another. This will be a very, very close election. It's always a targeted district. And so the bottom line is anyone who we can get out to vote in District 2, get them to go out and vote for the Column A team, because the state certainly needs a common sense Column A Republican team up there serving in Trenton to get some of this stuff straightened out and turned around. So that is the bottom line as it relates to the election this year. In terms of the election, the vote by mail is underway. For people who wanted to vote by mail or vote absentee, that process is already underway. Those ballots were mailed. There will be early voting beginning October 23rd, which is Saturday. So there'll be early voting sites throughout the county. There's going to be 6 of them throughout the county here. Anyone in Atlantic County can go out and vote at any of those early voting sites if they want to, at any of the ones throughout the county. And so you can do that from October 23rd through Election Day on November 2nd. We expect, especially after last year with that all vote by mail election, we expect many of our people or many of our supporters will actually want to go out and vote at the polls on Election Day. That's the traditional way. The people have always done it, and everybody is entitled to their vote. Everybody should exercise their vote. But I think that we've always had one election day. Polls are usually open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., giving people plenty of time to get to the polls. And so I think that is the best way to go, is to have one election day, give everybody their opportunity to vote. But this year it's going to be a little different, and we'll see how the early voting impacts everything and how that plays out. But November 2nd, ultimately, it'll be election day, and everybody get out there, exercise your right to vote.
So I'd like to initiate a challenge on this call to everyone listening and who will thereafter hear this. It's 10 days of voting. So I challenge everyone to get in touch with 10 people, 10 friends, 10 family members, and get them out to vote, and then pay that forward and have them get 10 people out to vote. And that's my challenge for everybody listening right now. So hopefully that this will we can expand this and create a ripple effect and get people out to vote. We need the support in District 2. And Claire, can you share with us any support specifically that your campaign needs currently?
Well, I mean, obviously we, need volunteers to, make phone calls. Today, we were reaching out to all the districts to get people that the vote by mail that have the ballot literally sitting on their dining room table to make sure that they fill it out and get it in. We are telling people about the 6 places that you can vote in Atlantic County. We've got Atlantic City, Galloway, Hamilton, Northfield, and Buna. I will be voting early in Northfield by my law office. I actually put it in my calendar for next Monday morning. I have a very busy month. All my kids' birthdays in October. We've got Halloween. We obviously have the campaign. I do believe that we need just one election day, but the fact that it's going to be early in-person voting, I'm going to take advantage of that. And I know a lot of people are actually going to do that because a lot of people vote early and then they go on vacation. Election day is actually the same week as a teachers' convention. So a lot of people go away that week anyway. So that's what we're doing. We're just, we're going door to door. We are reaching out to as many people as possible, but we can, there's Don.
Got you back, Don.
Hey, Don. But yes, we're just working really hard just to get the word out and make sure that every person votes, because we can go to every door. I can wear out 3 pairs of sneakers, but unless people vote, we will get this done if everybody votes.
Great. We missed you, Don. You have any final
Thank
words
you.
for us? You'd like to share?
All 3 of us want to make sure that we preserve religious exemptions. All 3 of us are concerned that this governor has too much authority that he's used because of COVID, and wants to see legislation that's going to limit the amount of time that he can do things by executive order without the legislator. All 3 of us know that we've lost 1/3 of all the small companies in the state of New Jersey, and COVID is only exasperating that. So we need to help our small businesses, not charge them extra taxes, but give them incentives to be able to open up and to hire employees. And we got to bring new businesses into our community as well. Make sure that our kids actually have the skills so they can get a job when they finish school. So I think all those are critical areas as we move forward. And that's why I think the 3 of us are going to be the best to represent Atlantic County, and for that matter, the interest of all of the people in our state.
Yep. You used to talk about the businesses, and there's the threat of mandates and COVID passport. And what will that do to our businesses? Not only make them suffer, and it'll be a divide that we don't want to go backwards. Yeah.
They can't afford to do that in Atlantic County. Listen, this is an area that has lots of nor'easters, and we know every 50 years or so we're going to hit a hurricane. So they have that money saved aside. They've used all that up already because of COVID being closed down. We've had a good summer, but if they close down this fall and winter, they're not going to be able to open up again. Then we'll have a real recession that'll turn into depression here in New Jersey. So we have to make sure that our businesses are able to stay open, provide all the safeties that they want to use. And certainly people that like or don't like them don't have to visit those businesses. But it's not the point of the governor to tell the guy who's running a bar or a restaurant, or for that matter, a pizza shop, how to operate their business. They should be happy collecting their taxes.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you guys, and I'm sure our community can see clearly why there was no hesitation in endorsing Vince Polistina, Don Guardian, and Claire Swift for Legislative District 2. As Lori mentioned earlier, this is a top priority district for us. The district currently has 2 assembly incumbents that are Democrat, and it's it's an at-risk district, and we need to get behind them with our support. If you're able to, as they mentioned, get behind some door knocking or phone calling, it is imperative to help support this district. And our efforts as a PAC are getting behind this district and elevating their candidacy as we are doing tonight. As a political action committee and being a grassroots, we are supported by your contributions. So please consider contributing to the PAC, going to www.njphipac.org to support us, to learn about us more. You can also find our past and future coming endorsements there. When you contribute to us, these contributions go to supporting candidates in their candidacy for key strategic elections, and the money is pooled together to again elevate them. So supporting us is helping to seat candidates in Trenton that will be a voice for health freedom, bodily autonomy, and parental rights. No contribution is too small. When you contribute to us, it's like signing a petition. It's showing the legislature that this issue matters to you, to us, to the people of New Jersey. So please, again, support us. And we'll see you next time on the next PAC Chat. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone, and have a good evening. Thanks all.
Thank you,
too.
Felicia. Thank you,
very much.
Lori, for
Bye.
having us.
Our pleasure.
See you
Our
later.
pleasure. Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.